Hello, Capricorn. My name is Kristen Simone Hansen, and welcome to SeaGoat Secrets. Okay, hello, Capricorn. This is your 6-month reading for the months of January 2024 to June 2024. And I'm setting up this format in the way that I do personal readings. For any of you guys who've gotten personal readings from me, you know how it is. Especially those of you who have gotten this reading or 3-month or 12-month, etc. But I'm bringing it here to YouTube, which is fun. I also wanted to mention that there is a sale on the 3-month readings, 6-month readings, which is this one, and also the 12-month readings. And that sale is going all throughout Capricorn season in order to begin the year strong. As I keep mentioning, 2024 is a pivotal year for you guys. Huge, huge change and transformation. Understand that Pluto is exiting Cap and going into Aqua. Now at a certain point it will go back into Capricorn at various points of the year, but for the most part you're scot-free for 2024, and you're going to see major change very quickly, almost immediately. Pluto exits Capricorn January 20th and goes into Aqua at that time. And when I mean things are much more lighthearted, the pressure is taken off, movement, big movement happening, huge change, growth in love, growth in career, growth in finances, a lot of big things. And what is more important, or most important in terms of understanding, is the things that have led you up until this point were made to create you for this moment. And you'll be able, and all throughout 2024, you'll be able to look at your lessons and see how if you didn't go through X, then you wouldn't be experiencing Y and Z. And the things that may have wounded you in the past will come full circle for you all throughout 2024. And you'll, even though it may not seem like it right now, you'll begin to appreciate and have understanding for the value of the experiences that you went through during your Pluto transit, because it's like an immediate shift once Pluto goes into Aqua. Karmically, it's a great year, and I'm just really happy for it. Obviously, I'm happy for you guys, I'm happy for the SeaGoat world, I'm happy for myself, etc. But yeah, so that sale is going to go all throughout Capricorn season. In general, I'm doing a lot of big things for Cap season, just because, you know, SeaGoats, of course, but also because it is important. It's huge. This is the last time Pluto's going to be in Capricorn. So in your lifetime, if you're watching this video, that is huge. And for those of us who have really experienced the bare bones of this 15-year transit, it is a life-shifting, life-changing change. And yes, it's life-changing for the entire collective, for the world at large. We're going to see huge shifts very quickly in technology and society and things like that. But we're not talking about anybody else. We're talking about you. And you guys are pillars of society during the Pluto transit. Big, and like I've mentioned before, trend-setting, leadership roles, etc. And you'll begin to understand how the things that you experience are exactly what's going to make it so that you can fulfill a leadership role now, or be able to do the things that you've always dreamt of now. Or even if it's just down to some of the traumas you experienced in love, open doors for some really powerful and amazing connections that you'll see coming through for 2024. Especially in terms of financial abundance. So Pluto in Aqua is in your second house, because Aquarius is your second house, and it's all about your values, your money, your pentacles. So yeah, big changes, big shifts. I'm going to stop rambling now, and I'm going to get into it. So for those of you who have had personal readings, you know how this is. For those of you who have not, it's similar to what I do in normal readings, but we're going to go month by month all the way down. So 6. All right, let's go. 3, 4, 5, 6. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the 10 of Cups. Overarching theme is the beautiful 10 of Cups. First 6 months of the year. That's powerful. So it's all about happiness, but not just happiness for the sake of happiness. That 10 of Cups doesn't feel like, oh, you know, I'm so joyous, and I'm in ultimate bliss, and I have no problems. It's more like an understanding of what was and what will be. It's the kind of 10 of Cups that feels more like learning to appreciate, learning to value hard-earned happiness. But it's not about perfection. And it kind of goes back to that theme that I was saying. It's like, it's not about perfection. It's about understanding what is valuable in terms of joy, what is valuable in terms of life and love. Kind of being willing to take the baby with the bathwater. Love what's in front of you now. Really learning the art of happiness, the art of bliss, which you guys have been learning this year. Even though it's been very trying, it's about, you've had to learn how to understand not only how to lower your expectations, but in a way that still you were able to create good, like love, self-love for the self, all the while going through things that questioned it and made you question yourself. And it brings you into 2024 in this way. It's done this before. I know how to be happy. I'm going to link a book that I read in the bio, and I'll probably put it in the picture on the side somewhere. But it's The Art of Happiness, and I read this book often. I've owned it now for maybe, I think it's been 2 or 3 years, and I read it every couple of months because I need to. Because it's a, you know, it's pretty much rooted in Taoism, and as you guys know, or I don't know if many of you know, but I'm a practicing Taoist as one of the many spiritual beliefs that I align with. But the thing about happiness is it's always, I need the reminder that it's an art, and it's not something that is always inevitable or just automatic or something that is natural. It's the older you get and the more you adapt to the world and the more you understand opposition and the more experiences you have. You know, like the earth, we have scars. Like when you look at a tree and you can look at its trunk and see all the things that it had been through, or you look at a mountain and you can see all of the different layers of its life because it holds on to those things like scar tissue. And as we grow and we evolve through scar tissue and through opposition, happiness becomes harder to acquire, whereas when you're young, it feels like something that is automatic. But it's not to say that it is something that cannot be achieved. It's understanding the art of it all, really glorifying growth through opposition, and you learn to really value happiness more when you understand, A, what it's like to not be happy, but you also start to treat it like it's something you need to work at, like working out, like your health. I have learned to look at happiness the same way I look at my physical body and the things that I need to do in order to ensure that it remains consistent, and how do I give it effort and energy, sculpting it like clay, basically. And that's why I read it. And it's a small book. You guys will see if you click the link. It's a tiny little book, but I suggest it. So let's get into this. All right. Wow. Off the bat, okay, before I flip these all over, for January, we have the 5 of Cups with butterfly, being more lighthearted. Look at this. Being more lighthearted. Healing the inner child. The 5 of Cups in reverse. January, you're stepping into the new year, stepping out of this energy of sadness, looking at the spilled cups, immediately flipping it over. So that lighthearted energy hits you as the new year comes into fruition. That is beautiful, and I'm excited to see where else it goes. I'm going to keep flipping these over. The table is not as adapted. Normally, for these readings, in the personal readings, I turn the table the opposite way, where it can handle all of the cards. This time I'm not doing that, just because of the way I'm recording this way. Okay, and lastly, we've got the healing points here. Yeah, January is very, not only lighthearted, but it's about the momentum to change, the momentum to feel that difference. So to begin in January, we've got the Five of Cups in reverse, asking for you to be more lighthearted, release the hold of darkness, be at cause, be in a more centered place. In your shadow, we've got the Page of Swords. So you want to fight. There's a lot on your mind. You're feeling a lot of mental anguish, things going back and forth in your head, thinking about the past, confused about the future, trying to understand what it is that you want to do in the present. You're feeling fire. You're feeling the momentum and the passion to want to change and shift. You feel more lighthearted, you feel more hopeful, vibrant, passionate, because again, this is a fire card for me, but it's like you're feeling vibrant, you're feeling passionate, and that energy is what's moving through. You're actively shifting out of a negative mindset. You're actively taking yourself and putting yourself in a more positive space. And that's what you're doing all throughout January. You're doing it with passion, fire, momentum. But in your shadow, again, is the mind, is confusion in the head, worry about the past. But it's not too much. It's not too crazy. It's really just a moment of you need to get out of your head. Or more than anything, don't let it take over. And also the desire to get a little scrappy with some people that have been bothering you in the past, or some past ideologies or past ideas. Don't get caught up in the process of that as you evolve throughout January. But by the end of January, you're going to see yourself in a space that is much more positive, much more lighthearted, just for your internal self. And then we go into February, where we have the end of a connection. So we've got the Five of Swords going on with the Grim Reaper. Now this, in combination with in the world, not of the world, we've got Judgment here in your shadow, and your advice is sitting on this side. So, and your advice also, that's your spiritual guidance, and then your advice is also in the world, not of the world. So what we have going on in January, this kind of screams conflict, but it doesn't actually feel aggressive to me. February more feels like the end of a conflict. Something is over. So whatever it is that you've been fighting for or fighting toward is coming to a close. And it feels financial. It feels business. Again, in the world, not of the world, is all about knowing your limits in terms of how much you put yourself in the matrix, and knowing when to give to the matrix and when to not give to it. You're putting to end something that has been going on, but you are nervous because in the back of your mind is, okay, am I making the right decisions? Am I doing the right thing? You're in a space of authority when it comes to your judgment, and the way that you're seeing something is exactly how it is coming into fruition, or the growth that is happening with it is in your hands. And so you're questioning whether you are making the right decision and if your judgment is in the right place. There's a lot of people that are involved in this. There are a lot of hands here. So whatever it is that is going on, again, it feels very career-wise, and if it's not career for you, it's family. It's a big decision that's being made, or decisions that are being made in your hands that affect multiple people. But it's something that has been going on for a long period of time that has caused you conflict, caused you disarray, caused you stress, and it's ending, as you know how to separate from it by understanding that it's like, I'm here, but I am not invested in the things that do not serve me. I'm not going to be putting myself into places that do not align with me. If this is a family situation, it's like, I'm here, but only to a certain extent. I'm going to do what it is that's right for me. And most importantly, you're ending a tie that is going to give you that kind of freedom. where you can sit in both spaces. And if it's career-wise, you're releasing things that have once bounded you career-wise. So a job, some kind of financial hold up, some kind of legal situation, you're released from it and you're freed from it. And that's a part of what's going on in February, this conversation in terms of this fight. And it's been brutal, but it doesn't feel like it's definitely going to be brutal in February, but not in a way where you feel chaotic. The situation in itself is that way. And it's really about putting an end to it. So the brutality is because it's coming to a close. Your inner spiritual power can heal circumstances. Yeah. Your inner spiritual power can heal circumstances in your life and our world in greater ways than you realize. Journey within to gain clarity and conscious redirection of your inner energy toward what you wish to manifest. And that goes back to the judgment in your shadow. Your mind is heavy, right? So it's another month of your mind being heavy, but this time in a much bigger way because the choices are yours. You are in control of this situation, and every single step that you take is in your hands, and you're just worried about which directions you're taking or what decisions you're making. But it's all working out in your favor because you're putting an end to this single-handedly by yourself. Basically, you're turning the wheel. Do not try to control what is happening. Instead, work to bring positive influence to bear so that you may contribute constructively towards shaping the outcome for the greatest good. So again, when it's saying do not control what is happening, when I look at that Five of Swords, don't fight. It's more like be focused on putting an end to the fight. Don't put yourself in a space, because your goal here is to be in the world, not of the world. So align with what gives you the most freedom. What is going to put you in this space of complete freedom? That is where your head wants to be when it comes to this situation. Think about it as putting a close to whatever stressed you out the year prior. So this situation has been going on and all you want is out. So when you focus on the fact that all you want is out, you want the end of this circumstance in the best way possible, that is going to make it so that your decisions are in alignment with what works best for this situation. You don't get caught up in this. Again, most of you, it's a career thing. Like, don't get caught up in the mess of this. Get yourself out. So in March now, we have the Tower. So it's interesting that right after we see the Five of Swords in February, we have the Tower coming in a month after the fact. Big change, big shift. We've got that along here with the Runner. So breaking free from whatever it is that was binding you. Spirals of manifestation is in your advice, and in your shadow, more with the mind. We've got the Ace of Swords in reverse. And actually, I just realized that in your shadow, it's all air. For January, it's the page of Swords upright in your shadow. We've got the Judgment in your shadow for February. We've got the Ace of Swords in your shadow for March. We've got the Nine of Swords in your shadow for April. Seven of Swords in your shadow for May, and the Lovers in your shadow for June. All air. So that does not surprise me, only because, again, some of the things that you guys have faced in your past, it's all about what's going on in terms of your mental. That is what you're going to be experiencing for the first half of the year, which is what decisions are you making? Where is your mind? Where is your clarity, and how your clarity will then align you with what it is that you're doing. And also, things are moving for you on the external with very little effort from you. So because there's a lot less effort from you, it creates a strain psychologically in terms of where it is that you sit, what it is that you do. As long as you are focused on change, the confusion is coming from making sure that it's executed the best way possible. And that is what your fear is when it comes to March, is clarity again. Am I making the right decisions? Do I know all the information? Spirals of manifestation, there's again, the Tower, big change, big shift happening. Something has fallen down and has begun anew. But along with this Runner here, it feels, and with this here in your spiritual advice, it goes back to this situation of releasing yourself from something that was binding you. And here we have major movement now in the future. So let go. Whatever it is that ended in February, it's important to let go completely and separate from it entirely in the month of March, because there is great movement that is happening here in the month of March, and it's all about you connecting with others in order to get where it is that you need to go, but beginning new. So creating new dynamics, new connections, new relationships. Let your true self be seen, especially now that you've released what it was that was binding you. Search for deeper spiritual purpose and opportunity for healing. Beneath conflict and suffering. If you have been in pain, this oracle brings a message of a joyful breakthrough. Your soul is growing stronger, more able to have faith and wisdom than in judgment or doubt. Commit to your spiritual path and know you are making progress even if it seems more difficult for a time. Know that any such difficulty is a part of the healing and that you will successfully move through it. Trust yourself. So, Tower. Huge shift, huge change, huge fall down. You need to separate from this situation. You are moving forward whether you are comfortable with it or not. I'm looking at the camera because I feel like I'm not only out of focus, but also we're running into a lighting issue because the night is coming to the day, I guess, to the camera. So I'm going to try to get through this, or maybe just shift the lighting, I guess, the best that I can. But so obviously that Tower has come in and you're feeling a little bit shaky, confused. You know that you need to move through this with connecting with others, with love, the best way that you can. But there has been a big change. There has been a big shift. There is pain here. There is difficulty here, which is normal in terms of the Tower, because it is about changing you in order to recreate you, in order to bring forth something new. Something huge has had to fall down and change and shift. I'm going to switch some lighting. Let's see. Okay, so so obviously this has caused a lot of disruption and shifting when it comes to the month of March, and it's leading off of the residual weight of February. So the endings that took place in February, the conflicts, the end of conflicts has you in March. The Tower has fallen. Everything has changed since this, and you're having to separate quickly and move towards something new in order to bring forth the future. And you're worried and you're scared, questioning things, because again, we have the Ace of Swords in reverse. So clarity, where is it that I go? What is it that I do? I don't know what it is that I'm doing next. It's difficult. You are confused. You are shaky. You are worried. And which makes sense when the Tower falls. That tends to be all of the emotions that run through one's mind when the Tower has fallen. But again, as we said, you can move through this, and most importantly, understand that it's bringing forth a new beginning. Spirals of manifestation is on your side. So yes, you did not expect it to end. You did not expect this great shift to take place, but it's moving you forward at a rapid rate. And you're going to be seeing that all throughout March. And so you have to let that shift. You have to let whatever it is that's falling down, fall down, and separate from it entirely. And then in April, that moves us into the Page of Cups in reverse. And usually the Page of Cups for me is about idealism. So when I see it in reverse, usually it's about some kind of negative thinking, worry. You're receiving exactly what it is that you need and you're moving on, but you're running into some issues with it. So what took place in March has you kind of in a negative mindset throughout the month of April, in a bit of a worried space. You're having trouble moving on, you're having trouble moving forward, and your advice here is to listen to the truth, because you are in a very worried place. Usually the Nine of Swords for me is good. The Nine of Swords in reverse is good because it means you're stepping out of a negative headspace. But in this case, I would say that it's in your shadow, because it's a continuous notion of what's running through your mind. These worries feel very, very real to you. This shadow feels very, very real to you, but then also you're worried about letting it go. You're in fear about what it means to not feel this scared or to not feel this stressed out in terms of where it is that you are. You want to feel heavier than what it is that you're feeling. And your advice is to listen for the truth. Know what is real. And do not be hyper connected to that which is not. Do not overemphasize on things that do not feel right or good to you. Keep in mind the Page of Cups in reverse is also a minor arcana. The major arcana happens in March when it comes to that tower, and that tower is strong and it's creating a big change. What you're dealing with in April is the residual fat, basically, that is left over in terms of what has taken place. And you have more fire in your advice. All throughout the first half of the year, we've got a lot of fire in terms of your advice. And with these particular cards, the red cards for me are fire. And it's all about passion and momentum and using a lot of energy to shift forward. And in this case, it's more mental anguish, more overthinking, more stress going on in the mind. Your heart knows how to let go so you can find peace. Yeah. What took place the month prior has you feeling very emotionally uprooted, feeling very negative, concerned, worried. You don't know what the truth is, and you're having trouble moving on from it, trouble moving on from all that happened in March and the tower that has fallen. Your heart knows how to let go so you can find peace. It is time for you to experience spiritual closure. It is time for you to experience spiritual closure, a beautiful new reality. Remember how we said it was about spirals of manifestation? It was all about moving you forward. A beautiful new reality is opening up for you. Entering it requires you to release your attachments to the past. You have been inwardly preparing for a powerful rebirth. Now it's time to trust in what is meant for you and toward it will with an open and trusting heart and peaceful mind. Again, emphasis on peaceful mind and emphasis on openness. So this negative headspace that you're in April is because of what has taken place in March. And you don't want to let it go. You're struggling with moving on, right? Issues moving on. You're struggling with that forward movement because you're just saying to yourself, why did that have to happen? I don't know what to do. What is the truth? I don't know what the truth is. That was a lot. That was a lot. And it has affected me in a space where I'm trying to be positive, I'm trying to move on, but it's hard for me to feel that way after something like that. What can I do? Where am I really? What is it that I actually want? You have to listen for the truth. You have to stay open to what reality is, and reality is saying that it happens so it can move you forward, and you have to stay focused on that and step out of this nightmare. It's okay to step out of this nightmare. Being in it is what you're looking toward because you want to feel safe and you don't want a tower to fall on you again. And so you're just like, okay, I'm on guard, I'm ready, I'm staying. All right, Capricorn, we are back. I apologize, my camera cut off. But what I was about to say to you was, speaking of the art of happiness, what I learned from that book in specific, I created my own way of dealing with happiness, and it's about starting at a base, right? Because in our adult lives, kind of like in the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, I always say F, when I read that book as well, it's all about understanding that in life comes with a bag of trash, right? Everything comes with a bag of trash. It's just a matter of what you're willing to tolerate or what it is that you're willing to deal with. And when reading The Art of Happiness, it's understanding that as well, but it's just, expressed in a different way. So for me, when I merged the two together, I understood that in order for me to practice the art of happiness and be better at accumulating joy, I needed to always desire to reach a base, right? So everything comes with trash, everything comes with an opposition. I always say with every yin there is a yang, with every light there is a shadow. Same thing. And all I need to do is ensure that I stay at a certain base, right? And in adult life, it's good to stay at a base, meaning you don't want to be too high in terms of your happiness. You don't want to be too high up like a child, because if you do, when life knocks you down, it knocks you all the way down. And when that opposition hits you, it'll make it so that every moment of your life becomes a tower moment? Why is it that when you first become an adult, it seems so difficult to try to create the life that you want, because you can start with all this idealism, and then you learn that this low happens often, this wave happens often. So if you start at a base, then that means as you go up and down, right? As the wave of life brings you up and down, as long as you're here, then this wave moves like this. So instead of you moving with the wave up and down, where your emotions are transitioning, or I guess I'll say me, right? Because this is what I do, of course. But instead of making it so that I'm moving up and down with every wave, I make sure that I keep myself at a certain base of contentment. So I'm not striving for happiness, I'm striving for contentment. And as long as I can stay content, then as these waves go up and down, I am immovable. I understand how to deal with the highs, and I make sure that I keep a base when I'm experiencing a high. And then when I'm experiencing a low, I make sure that I keep myself up in a certain way, like phrases like keep your head up, or yeah, I think when keep your head up, I guess, in terms of English phrases, and kind of just remaining there, because when you do, then you're not being too pulled in multiple directions in terms of the fluctuations of your emotions. I would say that that is what I'm seeing here when it comes to April. It is whatever it is that has set you back. You're struggling to move forward. You're having closure issues, and what is in your shadow is this fear with the Knight of Swords in reverse, where you're saying to yourself, "This is something I have to truly worry about." Worry is the most authentic emotion that I can feel, and it is the most valid emotion. And you're sitting here in this Page of Cups in reverse, saying that to yourself, right? But ultimately, it's understanding that it's time for you to let go of what it is that has happened, even if it was so recent. It's something that you can let go of. I see this tower here. I see this shift here. It's not to water it down and say that it isn't going to be something that creates a huge change in your life. I'm not going to submissify that, but I will say that for the overall theme of this first 6 months, it's about you with the Ten of Cups. And in the beginning of the reading, I mentioned that this Ten of Cups does not feel like ultimate bliss in the most simplest way. It's about, again, understanding the art of bliss. What does it actually mean? And we see that kind of panning out with this reading, where it's like, how do you deal with things, or how do you handle things? And that is the determining factor in terms of how you will experience this Ten of Cups energy. And most importantly, what it is that you're losing, what it is that is happening for you. So all of these, which you're used to at this point, right? But this is not as heavy as this year. So I don't want you to be worried and think that next year is going to hit you the same way this year has. This doesn't feel, okay, from my intuitive self, this does not feel so chaotic. Yes, there is a tower here. Yes, there is a Five of Swords here, but it doesn't feel so crazy. It doesn't feel so traumatizing. It feels like big change, and it feels like big movement in a way that makes you uncomfortable but not necessarily beaten. And that's a part of why in April the advice here is to just move on. And I don't always like the phrase, oh, move on, let it go. I don't like that phrase, because we know healing takes time. It's a process. But in this case, whatever it is that is taking place, that it's to move you forward, which is why your advice sits here with the spirals of manifestation. And when this tower falls, to let go. That's why that runner is there, where you're disconnecting, because it's something that you logically can look at, and that it's here to move you forward or push you forward. It's something that has just happened in order to create change, especially because the month before there's conflict here, but the conflict is there to end it. So it just feels like moment after moment. You're very lighthearted in January. And this helps you navigate the next 3 months, where it's like moment after moment. It's different chapters that are closing or shifting because of the patterns that had taken place before. And keep in mind, a lot of these patterns are not just patterns from this year. Because of the 15-year transit, they're patterns that have been going on for many of you 15 years. Relationships that are ending that are very old, or people coming back and then creating, for some of you, this thing that happens in March can easily be, especially because we're looking at the runner, something that's from the past that ends up coming back, that comes crashing all the way down. again, creating a big catalyst of change and shift and movement. But it's something that you know you can handle. And you know that, again, whatever it is that is taking place in both February and March is to just make it so that you can let go of it and move forward now in a different direction. But you're just in a negative mindset in April and feeling worried and not feeling very optimistic. You kind of want to hold on to it and say, like, I'm feeling down about this, or I'm feeling negative about this. But ultimately, it's something that you can move forward with, because here we have, in the month of May, we've got the Page of Wands with time, being single, having fun, being in the moment, right? Fresh, new, vibrant, bright energy happening just the month after. So where we have the Page of Cups in reverse, where you're not feeling idealistic and feeling negative in April, those rainy showers, depending on where you are in the world, are getting to you, right? For you, what's going on in that April time period is you are kind of dealing with the tinges of spring in terms of new birth and new growth. And what does it mean to be reborn? And those emotions, right? Because of the things that have fallen as we ended winter in February, the end of things, and then this starting in spring in March with this huge shift and this huge change. Moving into April, you're kind of going through this in and out, but as May comes around, you were able to let it go. Big, fresh, vibrant energy. You're feeling happy again. You're feeling like you're ready to, again, move on. You had trouble moving on the month before, right? You had closure issues the month before, but you're actually able to move on in May, which is great. And with May, we've also got your advice being the word wants to be written. So in other words, what it is that you have gone through, the advice here is to do a lot of communicating, do a lot of talking, because again, we have the girl talk statement, which is all about, I can't take this, okay. So again, we have the girl talk statement, which is all about communicating, talking, spending time with other people. A lot of, again, of that with the Page of Wands energy is fresh, vibrant, fun energy. You're in May feeling very, very fiery and ready to communicate and ready to connect as you go through this moving on process, but you're doing it with others. You want to talk about it, you want to expand on it, you want to do something with your experience, let people know what has gone on. You're in a space where you are creating more, you're doing more, you're transitioning more, transforming more career-wise, communication-wise, and you're making very tangible, strong results toward the future, which is wonderful. In your shadow, we've got the Seven of Swords, and we've got the Seven of Swords upright. So fear of deception, fear of what it is that has taken place in the past finding you again. That's what's running through your mind. You are scared of being wounded by whomever, right? So we got the Seven of Swords. What happened the month prior, the 2 months prior, definitely feel like it involves other people. And so here you are in May, you're worried about the past coming up and finding you again. But you're doing what it is that you need to do in order to move forward. You're being released from guilt and shame and fear. That is a big thing that's happening for you in May. That's your spiritual advice. The things that had you bound in March, or the themes of March, when May comes around, you're lifting. You're lifting and you're ready. You are being healed from guilt and fear. Such emotions will no longer steal your personal power. Okay. All right. It's kind of gone now. Okay. So you're being healed from guilt and fear. Such emotions will no longer steal your personal power or dissuade you from confidence, happiness, and realizing your own worth. No matter how unlikely it may seem, you're going to emerge from a spiritual winter. Okay? Those words are very specific. Emerge from the spiritual winter. What happens in March is you're moving from winter into spring. No matter whichever place you are in the world, winter to spring is its own experience. But nonetheless, you're moving from that winter into the spring. And that is a part of the process that is going on in terms of some of the traumatic experiences that you will have during that first 6-month threshold. You'll emerge from that into light and life. The divinely ordained time for your liberation, healing, and emergence is much closer than you realize. Abundant blessings are stirring and shall soon manifest. So that is your spiritual advice for May. You are in a headspace again where you're feeling like, I am ready to move on. I am ready to connect. I am ready to get back out there. This could also be love for some of you in terms of the end of a connection taking place. A lot of fighting, a lot of bickering going on could be in your love life in February, and then it goes through the big fall in March, and then you go through the emotional process, and in May you're ready to begin again. But for many of you, it feels more like a career thing than, or like a family thing more than anything like that, but it resonates for everyone differently. But again, the theme is all about what makes you happiest. What does bliss look like for you? What does joy look like for you? What does this 10 of Cups feel like? So anything that has gone was meant to go. This conflict, this difficulty, these change, these shifts, we're here to, again, transition you to end these karmic cycles that were going on in your Pluto transit. Here we are in the new Pluto transit. So whatever shifts and changes are happening are meant to, in order to end the karmic cycles of right now that we're dealing with right now. Okay, so for June, final month, we've got the Magician. We've got the Magician here with photograph. And photograph is all about, missing you, nostalgia, but it's making new memories. And along with the Magician, there are new beginnings here. It's about you creating. So this chapter that you went through, this spiritual winter, we'll call it, in June, here you are creating new. You're ready to start the second half of the year with a lot of passion and a lot of momentum and a lot of new beginnings. This is also the second major arcana in your subject thread. So just as powerful as March in terms of great endings and huge change with March, with the Tower, here we are in June with just as much power, just as much change, just as much growth, just as much transition. And you are ready to make new memories. You're now ready to begin, to truly begin. The end has ended. Those karma, whatever you were attached to was karmic. It has ended. And here you are ready to begin again. You're going to have, it's important for you to have faith in the process of what is new, faith in the process of what is here now, of what it is that you'll experience now moving forward. In your shadow, we've got the Lovers, more about choices, more about fear of choices, connections, alignments. Whatever it is that you had gone through up until this point definitely felt social, definitely felt, again, mental. So choices around connections, choices around people, choices around love or career, etc. And this is where your nervousness is in terms of who you are connecting with and what will serve and what doesn't serve and what choices you are making and do they align with what it is that you need the most. In terms of your healing, we've got another fire card. Do not turn away from your path nor what you know in your heart to be true, no matter what appears to be nor what logic may dictate. Okay? Faith in the process. No matter what appears to be or what logic may dictate, trust what your heart is telling you. You are safe and protected by spirit. You are spiritually empowered with all you need to manifest your authentic soul path. You have what it takes to connect with the light and live that connection in practical ways which contribute positive energy to our human collective. So June is all about having faith in this new beginning. That what it is that has gone on up until this point definitely shook you. You came into the year, big shifts, ready to let go of the difficulties of the past. February came around and it says, okay, great endings are here. Big changing. There's conflict that found itself to you. March came in, big change, big shift, big ending. You were not expecting it. It is not, now you are expecting it, but it is something that is going to hit you very heavy. It had you shaken up, and so you spend about 2 more months, which is throughout April feeling worried, feeling sad, feeling wounded, going into May, telling yourself that you have what it takes to move forward. And then here we are in June, and it's important for you to be able to hold on to your faith, because what has happened was meant to happen in order to end karma. So don't hold on to it. And I don't see you doing that. I don't see you doing that at all. And also, I believe that whatever it is that has or is taking place, you have more power over it than it having over you. Even though we do see a tower going on here, right? That tower is accompanied with a runner. It's like you are leaving something. So there's a big tower that takes place, but you're aware of its purpose and what it is that it serves for you. And by the time June comes around, it's an awareness of what brings you this Ten of Cups energy. All of this is working in your favor to bring about this Ten of Cups. And you're holding on to this. You're aware of this. You know this. What is going to make me the happiest? It's almost like doing like a balancing act in terms of all of the things that are taking place, because this is the overarching theme. This is the energy that is moving around all of this stuff. So that's a part of what I'm saying in terms of don't go into the year worried or scared or anything like that, because these do not feel so heavy. It's not about heaviness, it's about change. It's about growth, it's about transformation. And you have more control in these dynamics than you think that you do, and you're going to have an awareness of the fact that it is about what will bring you the most joy. But this is the Ten of Cups and not the Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles is perfect joy, right? It's perfect bliss. It is having the substance of it all. The Ten of Cups is knowing what to value and what not to value. Knowing that you don't have everything, but you have love. That's stereotypically what the Ten of Cups is about. And what does that translate when it comes to multiple subjects? You don't have everything, but you have what it is that you need in order to be happy. You don't know everything, but you know what you need in order to be happy. Almost like the love the one you're with kind of energy. So this does not feel like plans that you projected didn't work out, and it doesn't feel like that. For many of you, like I said, it's something, many things feel like the past coming up and doing things that you didn't expect, closure happening or ends of cycles happening in ways that you did not expect them to. But it's all about this. It's all about bringing you there. And you know how to navigate that. You're learning about the Ten of Cups, and that the Ten of Cups is not about perfection, and it doesn't always look the prettiest, but it feels the best, which is good. Okay, so that is your 6-month reading for 2024. I'm sorry if I rushed through it a bit. I was trying to race the camera. For those of you who have gotten personal readings from me, you guys know I don't use this camera for them because it has a limit in terms of timing and things like that. So yes. I think that is all. Okay, so I love you.